Please forgive me for what I've done. Please forgive me for what I've done. Please forgive me. Oh my God. Please. I know I've sinned, but not this. Please. I won't sin again. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for what I've done.
Hello?
Please forgive me.
Are you okay?
Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Oh God, please. Please. Please.
Hello and welcome to another video review here on the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 2017 horror game The Evil Within 2. Now, I personally played The Evil Within 2 on PS4, but from everything I've checked into, this game runs identical on both Xbox One and PS4. It is also important to note before I start this review that the game does not have any PlayStation 4 Pro support, and it is on the list for Xbox One X enhanced games, so maybe that support's coming, I don't know. I didn't feel it really hindered my enjoyment of the game at all, so just wanted to point that out before we begin. The other thing I want to point out in this review is I am going to talk about spoiler stuff, but I will give you guys my rating on the game, and then I will dive into spoilers. So anyways, we're going to start. First half of this video is going to be as spoiler-free as possible. In 2014, I was really excited that legendary game director Shinji Mikami, and I know I'm going to butcher his name, was returning to his survival horror roots with The Evil Within. I thought this game looked excellent. I was super excited about this game when it came out, and I was highly disappointed. It was one of my most disappointing games of that year. It just didn't grab me. Part of it was its piss-poor story that was incredibly nonsensical, and it didn't make sense until the end. And I feel like if I would have went into the original Evil Within knowing that there was this whole Matrix-like world and that's what I was in, I feel like I would have enjoyed that game more from the beginning than I did, because by the end when you find that out, it just isn't as enjoyable. So that's why it's interesting in Evil Within 2, they take a story beat from the original game that is kind of offhandedly mentioned, and that is the main plot point of Evil Within 2. So, Evil Within 2, you play as former detective Sebastian Castellanos again, and now he is looking for his daughter that supposedly died in a fire several years prior. Now, they mentioned this in the original Evil Within, but they kind of gloss over it, and that's an important thing to note, is they took this little small idea, like this big of that game, and turned it into its own game on its own. I am stunned and shocked at how much I loved this game. I went into it just having come off, if you watch my live streams this month on the channel, you know that I was down on Evil Within because going back and playing it, I remembered like how much I disliked that game. I thought it had a lot of cool concepts. I thought there were some cool things in the game, but overall it's just a highly disappointing survival horror game that just seemed dated and hindered because it had to be on Xbox 360 and PS3 as well as next-gen systems, or current-gen now, and PC. And the company just didn't seem like they were up to the task. Tango Gameworks, which is this company that Shinji Mikami started to make that game. It's also important to note that he did not direct The Evil Within 2, he only produced it. And I think that's important to note because I think that helped give this game a better sense of direction. Right off the bat, the best thing I will say about Evil Within 2 is its story. I was surprised how attached I not only got to the characters in The Evil Within 2, but how much I enjoyed the story and everything surrounding it in this game. So yes, you are going back to take down the evil corporation that is Mobius, or you might know that as, you know, Evil Umbrella. Essentially, that's what they are. And yes, you are going into the Matrix-like world that is called, I think the thing's called STEM. yes, that all happens, but since you know what that is from the get-go in this game, it makes the experience that much more enjoyable, because I already knew ahead of time that what I'm doing is not set in the real world, it's set in an alternate reality. And that makes this game that much more enjoyable, knowing that from the get-go. Another thing important to note here is that all the voice work in this game, these are all different voice actors. The reason for this is when this game was being developed, that was during the voice actor strike, and so they couldn't get back the original voice actors. And I'm going to be straight honest, I think the voice actors in this game are light years ahead of the ones in the original. Gone are the wooden sounding performances from the dude from Hell on Wheels and the chick that played Dexter's sister. I think her name's Jennifer Carpenter. And these people that now play Sebastian and then her character Kidman, they sound way better in this game. They sound much more personable, and they just sound like they're having a good time playing these characters. And in the original game, it all just sounded like wooden performances. So, gotta have to note that as well. This game surprised me not only with its story, but its depth. It's more open, but it is not a fully open world. And this really helped this game a lot. In the beginning, when you start the game, it's more open. You get into this town, there's this Matrix-like town that is called Union. And you get to run around, you can do side quests, and this is a really important part of this game. This game has side quests. And it rewards the player for scavenging around this town and looking for hidden objects. There's also a couple interesting side quests that aren't even told about you. One in particular that I love, we will talk about when we get to the spoiler section of this game, because I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. This game took me about 15 hours on normal difficulty to play through, and I'm going to be honest, I staggered myself from playing this game because I enjoyed it that much, I didn't want it to end. And that doesn't happen very often for me in video games. So I really enjoyed this game, and I went into it just coming off of being so disappointed from the first one, and it was more of like I begrudgingly bought the game to review it because it's a horror game and that's my favorite genre. I think Evil Within 2 can stand the test of time and be put up on the same pedestal as classic survival horror games we talk about, like Resident Evil or Resident Evil 2, and something like Silent Hill 2, or for me personally, Silent Hill 4 The Room. I think this game is that good. It kind of takes some of the side quest approach that I really enjoyed in something like Silent Hill Downpour that not a lot of other people liked, but I thought those side quests in that game were so well written. And there's one in particular in this game that is incredibly well written and well regarded, and again, we will get to that in spoilers, but I really enjoyed this game. I think everything from the controls are much more tighter this time around. They got rid of the black bars that everybody hated, you know. That was a big design choice in the original game, and it worked to an extent. I thought it was cool, but a lot of people really disliked the black bars. They took it out of the PC version. They may have taken it out of the console version, I'm not sure. You actually can unlock the black bars when you beat the game for the first time. It's a hidden Easter egg. I thought that was cool, but I wouldn't want to play with the black bars. The other thing to note about this game is it runs rock solid. The original Evil Within was hindered with a lot of performance issues and awful film grain. You can turn the film grain off in this game. I hope more developers going forward allow this option. I hate film grain personally. I think it looks bad in video games. I get why it is implemented because they want to have a more cinematic approach to these kind of games, but it looks bad. And here, you could turn it off, and the game is that much better for it. I hope more games going forward allow things like this. If you're playing on console, the game runs at a rock solid 30 frames. Honestly, I didn't get into any situations that I noticed a single frame drop, and that's impressive considering the first one, it was all over the place. If you play on PC, you can bump it up to 60 frames. I've actually read that the PC port of this game is really well done too, so that's a good news for PC fans out there that want to enjoy what I would probably consider would be the best version of this game, but I played it on PS4 and I enjoyed my time that much more there, so. The only minor gripe I have with the Evil Within 2, and then I will give you guys my rating and we'll move on to spoilers for the game, is aiming. I think the aiming is a little off at times in this game, at least it was for me. A lot of times I felt like my shots weren't connecting with enemies, and sometimes when I was shooting an enemy, I would waste a shot, and ammo scarcity is a thing in this game. Thankfully, it's not as bad as it was in the original Evil Within. I never once felt like I couldn't finish a boss battle because the game didn't give me enough ammunition. It always seemed to spit out just enough ammunition so you could get through a boss battle. And that's hugely important because in the first game, there were several choke points, as I'll call them, where those problems existed. And that's a big improvement over the original game. But aiming seems a little off at times. I had a hard time mostly with using the pistol in this game. For some reason, my shots just wouldn't connect sometimes. It's disappointing. I'm sure it's something that could be patched in the game. Again, it didn't hinder my enjoyment of the game at all, but it was like a minor gripe I have. So anyways, guys, this is another contender for the top 10 games list this year. I didn't think I'd be saying that at time of recording this review. You know, when I started the Evil Within 2, I kind of shrugged and said, whatever, because it's another horror game, and I'm so happy to stand on the other side of it here and tell you it's one of the best games I've played this year and one of the best survival horror games in recent memory. I'm giving this game an A-. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. It's going to easily crack my top 5 this year in terms of games that are my favorites. I actually look forward to playing through it again at some point. So I really enjoyed this game. A-. I think it's great. Let's talk about a couple spoiler things here. So if you guys don't want any spoilers about this game, you got my rating. You can go out, get the game, go play it, have a good time. But if you guys want to know a little bit more about the game, let's talk about some spoilers. One of the coolest things about this game is they kind of looked at the recent trends of horror and they implemented some not only good Easter eggs and tongue-in-cheek moments in this game revolving around current trends in the horror genre, but they also do have some good nods to certain things. There are two main characters in this game that are kind of like your evil bosses, if you will. The first half of the game revolves around a character named Stefano, and he's very much like a Hannibal Lecter type, except he's not a cannibal, but he's all about like art and everything. And it reminded me, and it evokes very much the recent Hannibal television show, and I love that aspect of it. And it also invoked Twin Peaks. Yes, there's a couple parts when you go into his art gallery realm, as we'll call it, and the game literally has the Black Lodge floor, the Black Lodge red curtains. So it's awesome to see stuff like that. There's literally a trophy in this game called Fire Walk With Me. I thought that was an awesome nod to Twin Peaks as well. There are some really good references, nods, and tongue-in-cheek moments to horror trends that I really enjoyed this. If anything, this game invokes The Matrix, Twin Peaks, and Hannibal the TV series, and that's great. Those are 3 favorite things of mine, so that's cool. The other half of the game revolves around a cult leader type guy that's been brainwashed as he came into this STEM thing, and he kind of wants to just, you know, control Union for his own. That invokes more Resident Evil 4 than anything else. It feels like, you know, kind of the cult thing that was going on in Resident Evil 4, and you get to explore like a spooky castle type environment and stuff. All really well done. That stuff's really cool as well. So there was 2 main parts of this game, and I enjoyed both equally. That's the important thing to know. I didn't think one was stronger or weaker than the other. So, and then there also is the main boss of the game and everything, which I don't want to spoil what that is, but it's pretty obvious what it is. However, I really don't want to spoil everything about this game. Now, I talked earlier in the review that I wanted to talk about one side quest in this game in particular, and that is there is a ghost woman. Now, I don't remember what her name is, but I kind of stumbled upon this on accident.
Shit! Where is he going? What the hell is that thing?
So in chapter 7 of the game is the first time you will come across this. There is a diner that you can go explore, and as I was exploring I was like, this is cool, kind of reminds me of Twin Peaks. As you get closer into the corner of this diner, the jukebox starts playing, and then a ghost woman comes out and kind of sucks you into her own world, and you have to do a incredibly, I wouldn't say incredibly complex, but a complex puzzle involving mirrors, and this whole sequence I thought was really, really cool and really well done, and it has nothing to do with anything else that happens on the game. This whole storyline is then wrapped up later in the game in a second sequence involving the Ghost Woman, and I don't want to spoil more about it, but it's side quests like this in horror games that I really appreciate. I think back to some of the great side quests in Silent Hill Downpour. Was definitely critically panned by game journalists, but I really enjoyed that game for what it was, and most importantly for its side quests. I felt that game had some really clever and well-written side quests. My favorite was the one that involved a gramophone, so that's more than I want to say about it. But this game's side quests are really good and they're really well done. That Ghost Woman one especially is awesome. Now, obviously, the whole game revolves around Mobius, this, evil Umbrella Corporation-like thing, and their whole purpose is they've created this fake town in a fake matrix because they can control people's thoughts in this fake town, and then out in the real world they can use that to win elections and do all this other big picture stuff. I enjoyed all of that story. It made much more sense here. As I played through the game, I was like, I get that. I understand that. I can relate to that. That makes sense. It's not like the Evil Within 1 where you just felt like you were jumping between, this scary part to that scary part, and everything kind of just seemed flung around. You didn't really know what was going on. This is a more focused and cohesive storyline that makes sense to the player. And I thought the very last chapter of this game makes good on that. This game ends in a really well thought out ending where if this is the last Evil Within game they make, I'm perfectly happy with it. It can stand on its own. I don't think that you have to play the original Evil Within to get enjoyment out of this game. However, there is one really cool part of the game where they recycle some bosses and some of the bigger beat moments of the original game that I thought was really well done. Mostly because this game controls way better, so it made fighting those bosses a lot more enjoyable this time. But it was really cool, and I really enjoyed that part of this game as well. So that ends the spoiler section, guys. I really love this game. It's incredible that 2017 has been the best year for video games in a long time. We've had so many great games come out, and I'm happy on the other side of it that something like Evil Within 2 not only exists, but it just is an incredible 180 from what the original brought to us. Whereas I would give the original game maybe like a C-. This game is a total A-. I love this game. It's worth every penny. You should go out. If you're a horror fan and you didn't even play the first Evil Within, go out and get this game. Go read a Wikipedia on what happened in the first game and go get this game. You will love it. If you love horror games, if you grew up on games like Resident Evil, Silent Hill, Fatal Frame, any of these great horror games, you're going to love this game. You're going to have a great time. A-. I love it. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me if you like Evil Within. And as always, until next time.